All right, good evening. Can't believe we're already in the 8th week. Feel like I'm back in my undergraduate. It's been hard to focus. These videos were harder to watch than they should have been. So they both talked about conflict. That is the big theme of the week. So the first one kind of spoke about how conflict can be good. They spoke about how this doctor in the 50s, I believe it was doing a lot of research on cancer. And so there's a lot of prominent, I believe is what they called it, families, or affluent families dying, kids due to cancer. And she got 1,000 pounds, which I don't even want to know how much that is in American value. We'd probably be shocked how little she had, for the grant to do this research. And so she found out that this cancer, for a 2-to-1 ratio of children that died, their mothers got ultrasounds, or sorry, x-rays, not ultrasounds, x-rays when pregnant. And it actually took 25 years for them to ban x-raying pregnant women, which is crazy. The video mentioned that they were putting all the word out and people were, eating up the information, but it still took 25 years for it to get banned or outlawed or whatever you want to say there. So that was interesting. The point of the video was, and they went on to say how there was a doctor whose sole job was to prove her wrong, which in turn, that kind of conflict helped them because, it challenged them. And then it also mentioned giving her confidence if he couldn't prove her wrong. They also mentioned that 85% of people in the workplace, or not in the workplace, but just in general, I believe it was, are afraid to raise issues. I can kind of relate to that. I know if it's someone I'm comfortable with, obviously I think this is a lot of people. Like, I grew up in a household where everything was talked about, like XYZ. Like, we would have a bicker fest for 5 minutes and then be like, all right, like, let's go get ice cream. And that's just how my family is. I know not every family is like that. I have a lot of friends who find it weird that I'm so open with my parents, but that's how we do. Like, that's how we do. We're just very open, and conflict, we're not afraid of it. If you go outside my family, my mom will never call the cable people, which is kind of interesting. She'll have no problem like getting on me, but that outside conflict is a problem. But anyways, so they talked about some skills for overcoming conflict. Conflict is not the end, but it is the beginning. It was openness. I'm sorry, I can't read my writing. Openness is not the end, it's the beginning. That's true. I think a lot of people struggle with communication and communicating their feelings. So when we are open, it's when we can really, I think it's when you can really begin to understand your feelings and really explain them to others. So the second one was very interesting. 2 different stories that were very personal, for lack of a better word. They definitely had some struggles in their life. And like the first woman that talked said she tends to avoid the conflict just because of what happened around the dinner table with her family. And the second one, the conflict actually helped her in a way. So they spoke about letting go of judgments, which can be hard because I know once you feel a certain way about someone, it's hard to let that go. So I think that's something that we can all work on, like having a certain perception of someone and then having to like let it go and stop judging them for something that might not even be a big deal, but just kind of like tainted your perception of them. I know sometimes for me, that just kept reminding me of when they were talking about conflict and ways to overcome. I think we've all worked with tough people, whether there was like an annoying coworker that you thought was kind of ditzy, or like a coworker that complains a lot. Conflict is just inevitable. I'm actually I mean, I tend to, like, I'll be honest, like, if someone asks me something, I'm not going to lie to them, but I'm not just going to right out just go into conflict. So, I think conflict kind of gets, like, a bad rep for just being, like, not dramatic, but it can not be productive. It can be unproductive and cannot turn out well. So I think once people kind of nail that down and how to have productive conflicts, I think communication will just improve and everything will just better.